So I know I haven't done a video in a while, so I wanted to go ahead and shoot a little update video today. So this is the current status of the mill. I've got a DRO attached, as well as an oil system, which you can see is leaked into the base there. As well as I ended up building a stand, and I built it too tall. So I was actually working on it today, and I accidentally started disassembling the spindle, and so that's kind of a side project that I didn't really plan, but so you can kind of see down inside there, there's some little rust spots and stuff that I'm going to work on cleaning up, and I still haven't finished painting this thing. Painting has been more of a task than I initially expected. But, so you can see down here, this is the oil system that I installed. It's just kind of a typical one-pump system. I ended up installing a little ball valve here for the knee, because that's where all of my leaking came from. I didn't design this properly, and so the knee receives more oil pressure than the rest. So I ended up overpressurizing the knee here, and oil spilled out everywhere. I haven't cleaned that up yet, but so that was a pretty cheap little upgrade. I think this was like 18-20 bucks, and then all the line and stuff was another 10 bucks or something. And it's much easier than going in and manually relubing the ways. I'm actually pretty happy with this DRO. It is fairly inexpensive, and it bolted up really easily. So what I did is here I just removed the original scale. There's like a little scale with a pointer down here underneath the, well, where my vise is now. And so that guy bolted up really easily. And then down here for my Y-axis, that bolted up pretty nice as well. So I'm trying to think how I did it. Let's see. So for the front side here, I had to make another bracket. And I mean, that's just a little extension piece. So I ended up getting a 250 millimeter long rail for this side as opposed to a 200. When I had ordered the kit, they were out of the 200, so kind of is what it is. But so that's why this extra overhang is here. When I planned it out, it was going to be, a direct bolt into the casting. But it was pretty easy. It really was a pretty simple job. The Z-axis was the hardest because you do have this taper that goes all the way up the knee, and you can see that I haven't finished. I'm making a little spacer block there. Currently, I'm not using this machine too much because the constant list of upgrades and things that I've been doing to it, I haven't actually had a chance to really use it. The little bit that I have used before I got the DRO installed was a super great machine to use. Everything's pretty smooth. I'm pretty impressed with the quality for the price. So one of the things that I did when I was installing this machine, I got it up on the stand, is I stripped it all down except for the spindle, and cleaned everything. I pulled the table all apart, cleaned the ways, deburred everything, repacked all of the bearings and stuff with a higher quality grease. And so when I actually put the whole machine up on the stand, I did it piece by piece, so I didn't need any sort of lift or anything. I just had my brother come over and lift the main casting, which is the base, and I mean the column does bolt onto the base, but you don't want to unbolt that. So we just lifted the whole thing up and got it set up there, and so I still have yet to tram the machine or the head for the tilt left to right. This machine does not have any sort of knot adjustment. If you own the machine, you know that, but other than that, it's been a pretty good machine. I'm still working on figuring out a way to wire in the power for the DRO into the electronics in the back of the column there. So once I get that done, we'll actually have a reliable source of power, because my 110 outlets here on the wall are already taken up by these shop lights here. I've got one outlet here, and that's the closest outlet I have. That bottom plug is for a sump pump. This is actually a retaining wall, so there's dirt behind this, and we have some drainage issues. But this is my little welding table. It's nothing much to talk about. I got this guy at a great deal. This is the Harbor Freight Vulcan Pro TIG 200. I've never TIG welded before, and I wanted a cheap machine. This guy was on sale. I think it was I paid about $500 for it. And then I had to buy a tank of gas, which I got from a local welding supply center. So all in all, I think I have $700 into this little setup, and it came with everything I needed. It came with a little foot pedal down there, TIG torch, tungsten. Didn't come with filler rod, obviously, but that's cheap enough. So that's my little welding setup. I'll actually, once I learn to weld better, I'll maybe do a video on that. We'll see. I really don't know. But so over here, this is my little workbench area. So recently I restored two machinist vices. This is a Reed 104R, and this is a Parker 103, I believe. Let's see. Yep, Parker 103. So the Reed is a 4-inch vise, and the Parker is a 3.5-inch wide jaw. So you can see over here, this is where I have the spindle all taken apart. It's kind of cool seeing how all of the mechanism works together. So this is actually backwards in the machine. So this whole thing right here, set it on your drawbar, sits in there like that. So this is your main gear that operates your quill or your spindle. Interfaces with these teeth here, and that's what moves it up and down. You also have a little toothed, I don't know what it's actually called, a little toothed guy here. That's how you have your fine feed for your little hand wheel. So that's this guy here. It's a little worm gear setup. So you tighten this guy here on the left-hand side of the headstock, and that pushes this little silver-toothed guy here, who's driven by a key on the shaft, and that engages and locks the little gear here to the rest of the shaft, and that's what actually drives your spindle up and down. Everything comes apart fairly easily. It's pretty simple, and I'm now noticing that all of my stuff has been out of focus. These guys, maybe one day we'll upgrade the bearings in this. You can see that they're just a Chinese, let's see if you can see down inside there. Yep, there's a Chinese ball bearings in the top here, and in the bottom I could not tell. If you flip this guy over, this is a bearing cover, and there's a nice large diameter bearing in there. I would I would expect to see some sort of tapered roller bearing in there, but you never know. So I've been really happy with the machine. I've been slowly buying extra tooling. I've got some R8 collets. I used the little R8 adapter and picked up one of the cheap little Harbor Freight Jacobs chucks, as well as an ER32 collet adapter, because I have ER32 collet blocks in hex and square. And other than that, it's kind of a quick little update. I know I haven't done a video in a while, so I wanted to give you guys some sort of update. Let you see how things are going. Actually, before I go, we can talk about my whole setup here. I'll step back so you can actually see how much space I'm working with. This is really just a kind of a 1.5 car garage section. This is a 2.5, 3 car garage, but only this section is mine. The rest is my dad's. So you can see the little bit of space that I'm working with here. So I've got a little horizontal bandsaw with my workbench, or not workbench, little tool chest here with all of my lathe tooling. Little tiny Harbor Freight lathe. This guy works reasonably well if you're doing any sort of aluminum. You can cut steel on it. It's just really slow. I've been doing some upgrades on this. I've went and replaced the ball bearings with tapered roller bearings. All metal gears. All metal gears in the back here. Painted it. I really don't like the red. It's just personal preference. I got this really cheap quick change tool post, which one day I may upgrade, or I may just get rid of the whole thing. I don't know. It works for now. It's not a super rigid machine, and that's really my main complaint with it. I'm not, the size is a little small, but it's useful. I just wish it was a little more rigid. But yeah, so that's kind of like a quick little update here, so you can kind of see the rest of my area over here, if my camera's actually in focus. But yeah, I've been pretty impressed with some of the stuff that I've gotten, especially these LED shop lights up here. These were a pack from Amazon. They were really inexpensive, and I've been pretty happy with them. But yeah, so thanks for watching, and just keep in tune for the next video. Hopefully I'll be able to get into a little bit better of a schedule. Things have been really busy for me recently, so I haven't been able to take time to kind of do anything. So maybe we'll get into some fun projects, and I'll actually film what I'm doing as opposed to just kind of showing you the aftermath. But especially with this milling stand here, I really wanted to get this up off of the floor and off of the crate, so I didn't take the time to shoot the footage of that. But alright, well, like I said, thanks for watching, and keep in tune for the next one.